Okay, you know what? I'm going to be very blunt. I mean, as usual, negative people are poison, okay? Full stop. They are like secondhand smoke. Like, you don't even have to be the one smoking to get sick from it. Like, BFFR babes, just, being around it long enough will corrode your peace. Like, honestly, your confidence and your glow. And also, what kills me is that how so many people know this deep down, like they're literally aware, but still themselves marinate in other people's toxic energy, because they're too scared to cut them off. Like, babes, are you serious? You're really going to let someone else's bitterness leak into your bloodstream just because you've known them for years, just because they're family, just because you don't want to feel alone. But no, absolutely not, okay? Because the truth is, negative energy is infectious, okay? And if you think that you can just tolerate it or manage it without absorbing it, you're lying to yourself. I know that you're lying to yourself. It doesn't matter how strong you are if you sit in a room that's filled with, cigarette smoke long enough, babes, you're gonna start coughing. Oh, we both know that. Yeah. If you stay around people who are bitter, cynical, and draining, their mindset will creep into you. Their language will become your language. Their habits, it will start influencing yours. And before you even realize it, you're not glowing anymore. You're dim. Okay? Like, personally, I've seen this play out in real life so many times, like so many times. I mean, I've watched people that I used to be friends with who used to shine, they get dragged down because they could not detach from the negativity around them. I've seen family dynamics as well where one toxic, auntie or uncle, or one miserable auntie or uncle, they control the entire vibe of the house just by being negative like 24/7. I've also seen girls in their prime that, they shrink themselves because their friend group was full of, insecure little roaches who could not stand to see anyone else win. And the saddest part is that these people do not even realize how much energy they're wasting keeping themselves small for the sake of, fitting into negative spaces. Like, trust me, okay? And I'm going to be real again, okay? I've been there too. Like, I know what it feels like to let negative people drain me because I thought, I owed them loyalty. Because I thought that, cutting them off would make me the bad guy, because I thought maybe if I stuck around, I could help them change. But here's the gag, babes. Here's the gag. You cannot change people who don't want to be changed. Like, trust me, you can't drag someone into the light if they're committed to sitting in the dark. Like, babes, and the longer you try, the more you will realize that it's not them who's shifting, okay? It's you. Like, you're the one getting dimmer. Like, you're the one lowering your standards. You're the one turning into the person you swore you'd never be. That's why I always say avoid negative people. Avoid negative people at all costs. Because the cost of letting them stay in your life is too high. And you think you're just being nice or understanding, but really, babes, you're sacrificing your peace. You're sacrificing your ambition. You're sacrificing your glow up. And let's be honest, okay? Peace is priceless. Ambition, that's priceless. Your glow, priceless, okay? So why would you ever throw that away for the sake of people who are not even clapping when you win? you know and here's where I get savage. Okay, I'm gonna get savage because some of y'all need to hear this without sugarcoating. If your circle is negative, you don't have a circle, you have a prison. Like, you're literally surrounding yourself with jailers, not supporters. Like, you know what, every time you leave a conversation, if you feel drained from that conversation, tired, small, if you second guess yourself from that conversation, babes, that's not friendship. Okay, that's emotional robbery. They're robbing you. Okay, like, you're letting people steal your energy. Like, you're letting people siphon your self worth. And what do you get in return? Gossip, complaints, trauma bonding over how miserable life is. No, babe, that's not connection, okay? That's self sabotage disguised as loyalty. And also, the reason so many people can't cut off negativity is because they're scared of being alone. They would rather sit in a room full of rotting energy than sit alone in silence. Okay, and let me tell you right now, silence will heal you faster than negativity ever will. Okay, because being alone is not scary, it's necessary. Okay, because when you step out of the noise, when you separate yourself from the draining voices, you can finally hear yourself again. And you will realize that you were never crazy. You were never too much. You were just literally surrounded by people who made you doubt your own brilliance. Like, trust me. So here is going to be my first lap for you, okay? You need to stop sacrificing your life for the comfort of negative people. You need to stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, okay? Stop keeping people around just because of history. Like, just because y'all grew up together does not mean you're growing together now. No. Some of these people are just anchors. And anchors, they don't let you fly, okay? They do not let you fly. And, okay, if you're thinking that, but what if they're family? Babes, family can be toxic too. One thing about blood is that it will never excuse poison, okay? Respect also does not mean tolerance. Like, you don't owe your peace to anyone, not your parents, not your cousins, not your siblings. Babes, you can love people and still block their number, okay? You can honor your family without letting them control your future. And if anyone tells you otherwise, that's just manipulation dressed as tradition. Yeah. The truth is that avoiding negative people is not mean, okay? It's not mean. It's self-protection. It's choosing life over slow death, okay? Because every time you let someone drain you, you're slowly killing yourself. You're betraying your future self, and honestly, that's betrayal that you will never and cannot afford. Okay? And one thing about negative people they're not just bad vibes, you know? They are calculated in their own way. I mean, even if they don't realize it, because most of them operate out of fear, insecurity, jealousy, and comfort. And what do scared, insecure, jealous, comfortable people do? They project, they complain, they tear down. They will see someone shining and they will immediately find a way to minimize it. Like, they would say that, oh, she only looks good because of the filters, because of the makeup. He only got that job because of luck. Like, they're not even that talented. And that's the language of miserable people. Okay? So now I'm going to break it down why it's so hard to let them go. So first things first is, history. Like, most people, they've known their friends for years. They were there in your childhood. They've been, through it all with you. But you know what? Here's the trap, okay? History does not equal alignment, okay? Just because someone was a part of your past doesn't mean that they deserve access to your future. And you know what? A lot of people get stuck here because they feel guilty. Like, they don't want to abandon someone they've known forever. But babes, you're not abandoning anyone. You are outgrowing them, and it's okay to outgrow people because there's a difference, okay? And if they loved you, truly loved you, they wouldn't chain you to their misery. Like, trust me. Okay, second is guilt. Guilt, okay? Negative people, they're experts at making you feel guilty for choosing yourself. They will hit you with the "you've changed" line as if that's a bad thing. They will say that you're selfish for pulling back. They will gaslight you into believing that you're abandoning them. But the reality is that they're just scared of losing their grip on you. Like, trust me, because when you glow up, when you rise, when you elevate, you expose your stagnancy, okay? And no one likes being left behind. Like, we both know that. Like, honestly, that's just so tiring. Okay, and third thing is loneliness. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, cutting people off, it feels lonely at first. Like, we all know that. I mean, most of y'all, you go from always having someone to gossip with to, being alone with your thoughts. And, that's terrifying to a lot of people. Like, I know that. That's why most people, they cling to the same draining friendships, the same toxic relationships, the same miserable family dynamics, because they would rather be suffocated than be silent. Like, but what they don't realize is that silence is where the healing process. Like, honestly, silence is where you rediscover your voice. Silence is also where you actually find the people who deserve you. And okay, let me tell you this. Some of y'all are not just victims of negative people. Like, y'all are addicted to them. Like, honestly, y'all love the drama. I mean, most of y'all love the chaos. Like, why do you guys love the adrenaline rush of always having something to complain about? Because I'm going to be real. Complaining is easy. Yeah. Gossip is easy. Being negative is easy. Like, I've been there. I liked those things before because, I never wanted accountability. It's hard. What's hard is growth. What's hard is sitting with your shit and saying, I can do better. And you know what? A lot of people, they would rather sit in misery than rise in discomfort. And I know that. That's why misery loves company because it's too weak to stand alone. So, okay, so how do you really break free from that? I think one thing is that you need to have standards. Yeah, standards. You've got to raise your standards, babes, like for who gets access to you. Stop giving all access passes to people who drain you. You need to stop letting everyone sit front row in your life because not everyone deserves a ticket. Like, trust me, if someone is not bringing peace, joy, or growth into your life, why are they there? Yeah, right? If someone is not clapping when you win, why are they there? If someone makes you feel small after every conversation, why are they there? Answer that honestly, okay? And you will start to realize just how many people you've been tolerating out of fear, not love. Yeah. And here's the tea, okay? When you start setting boundaries, you will lose people, period, point blank. Yeah, you will lose a lot of people, but that's not a loss. You've got to understand this, that it's not a loss. That's you filtering out people. That's a filter. Because one thing about boundaries is that it does not push the right people away. They push the wrong people out. And you know what? Once the people are gone, the right people can finally find you. The friendships that inspire you, the mentors who were meant to elevate you, the partners who genuinely support you, the spaces where you don't have to dim your light just to be accepted. Yeah. But you know what? Here's the hard part, the part wherein people don't want to hear. Cutting off negative people is not just about them, it's also about you. Because if you keep attracting the same negative energy, maybe it's because you have not healed the part of you that tolerates it. Maybe you secretly believe that you don't deserve better. Maybe you've normalized dysfunction so much that peace feels boring. That's why this is deeper, than just unfollowing someone or blocking their number. This is also about retraining your nervous system to stop craving chaos, because this is about learning to sit in peace without reaching for drama. This is about falling in love with quiet so you never have to settle for noise again. Yeah. And let me drop another slap, okay? Negative people, they don't always look like villains. Sometimes they come disguised as, realists, those people that are very realistic. The type, every time you talk about your goals, they would be like, well, what if it doesn't work? Or, be realistic because not everyone makes it. But that's not realism, okay? That's fear that's, dressed up as wisdom. And if you let that energy in, it will rot your dreams from the inside out. Like, trust me. So you need to be ruthless about who you let speak into your life. Because one thing about words, that it's words are seeds. Yeah. And negative people, they plant weeds. Yeah, I can say it like that. And also, I'm going to say this, you don't have to, make an announcement when you cut people off. Like, literally, you don't owe anyone a speech, a confrontation, or, a dramatic unfriending. Like, you can literally just sit back quietly, like step back from them, or like block them quietly. Like, you can just move different. You can just protect your energy without sending out a press release, because sometimes silence is the loudest boundary. And the ones who notice, they were probably the ones draining you anyway. Like, trust me. And this is the beauty of avoiding negative people, because the moment you distance yourself from negative people, your energy, it will shift, okay? Your peace, it will expand. Your glow, it'll come back. And suddenly the things that you've been praying for start flowing into your life because there's finally space for them. Opportunities don't flow into chaos, okay? They flow into clarity. And you cannot manifest clarity if you're surrounded by people who thrive on confusion. So, yes, avoiding negative people is hard, okay? It's uncomfortable. It's lonely at first, but it's also necessary, okay? You have to understand that it's also necessary because nothing kills faster than slow poison, okay? Take this. And negative people are slow poison in human form. Yeah. So if you keep sipping from, that cup, don't be surprised when your soul feels sick. Okay? But if you put the cup down and choose yourself, don't be surprised when, um your life transform. Okay? So here's what I want you to understand. One thing about negative people is that they will never clap for you because, your glow is proof of everything they've refused to do for themselves. That's why you cannot expect applause from the cheap seats. That's why you can't measure your worth through the eyes of people who cannot even see clearly through their own bitterness. Like, because negative people are not just miserable, okay? They're blind. They cannot see possibility. They can't see hope. They can't see potential. So you need to stop expecting vision from the blind, okay? And I know some of y'all listening right now are thinking, but what if I have no one left when I cut them off? And here's my answer to that. So what? So what if you walk alone for a while? Walking alone in peace is 10 times better than walking with a crowd that secretly resents you. Trust me, I've cut a lot of people in my like I did. Like actually 90% I did cut them off because the quiet path may feel scary, but it's the only path where you will actually hear your own voice. And babes, when you hear yourself clearly, that's when your real people will find you. The ones who don't drain you, the ones who don't compete with you, the ones who celebrate you without conditions. And let's really drag the concept of, staying for loyalty. Loyalty to what? To pain? To gossip, to family members who hide behind respect your elders while they disrespect you. You know, they disrespect you every chance they get, to friends who only call when they need something. Babes, that's not loyalty, okay? That's bondage. That's you holding onto dead weight because you're scared to fly. And let me tell you right now, wings, they don't grow in cages. Okay? They don't grow in cages. I want you to very much understand that because negative people are the reason so many of y'all are stuck. Okay? So many of y'all are stuck because of negative people. Yeah, that's just the truth. Like, you're not lazy, you're not drained. Like you're surrounded by voices telling you not to bother. You know, you're not failing, you're not sabotaging either. Like you're sabotaging yourself by letting people who hate themselves advise you on your life. And you need to think about that, babes. How are you taking advice from people who have not even figured out how to love themselves? Like, honestly, how are you letting someone who's given up their own dreams tell you what's realistic for yours? You need to understand that. That's like you asking a blind man for directions. And of course, you're lost if you're doing that. So, okay, so here's the truth, okay? If you want to level up, you can't afford to entertain negativity. Like, trust me, at all. Not in your circle, not in your family, not in your own head. You've got to treat it like a disease and quarantine it. Because negativity, it doesn't just stay contained, okay? It spreads, it seeps, it infects. And by the time you realize it's taken hold, you've already built a whole life around, settling, doubting, and shrinking. You know what? And I'm not saying this to be dramatic, okay? I'm saying this because I have lived it. I've been around, people who drained me so much that I did not even recognize myself anymore. I shrunk, I doubted, I questioned. And for what? To keep people comfortable? To keep toxic dynamics alive? To avoid being alone? That's not living. Yeah. That's like existing in someone else's cage. But you know what? When I finally cut them off, when I finally chose myself over their negativity, my life expanded. Yeah. Opportunities, they opened. Peace returned. My glow came back. And you know what? That's why I'm telling you this. Avoiding negative people is not optional, okay? It's mandatory if you really want to, glow up and change your life, okay? And I think I'm going to end here. I'm going to finish this with a final slap, okay? Avoiding negative people is not about being mean. It's about refusing to die slowly, okay? Because every day you let them stay, they're killing you, killing your joy, killing your drive, killing your spirit. Okay? And I refuse to watch anyone listening to me or supporting me settle for that. I don't want y'all doing that, okay? So, yeah, avoid negative people at all costs. At all costs. Because the cost of keeping them, it's going to be your entire life. And babes, that's too expensive. Okay? So cut them off. Anyways, I think that's it for this latest episode. I mean, I've yapped a lot already. I think those are just the things that I can like think about of like, yapping, like talking about the sole topic, the particular focus for today. So yeah, avoid negative people at all costs. If you like or love watching me app or listen to me app, guys, please subscribe. Share this video to your family and friends if you think that this will help them or they will benefit from listening and watching me. Because why not? Right? And my socials are on the description box below. Linktree also there. Y'all guys know the drill. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.